Hello everyone, welcome to Added Trade. Today we're going to be seeing the trade review for Friday, Jan 13th, what happened in Banknifty, how we could have traded. This is the price action for Jan 13. We had a nice up move. Though we traded this, we caught the up move, but there was some couple of mistakes, or I wouldn't say mistake, where a stop loss hit. We'll be seeing even that and how best we could have traded. And that's the whole point, right? If we don't learn from what we do, there's no point in doing any of such analysis or anything. So let's get started. See, firstly, we had a narrow CPR, and the opening was quite tricky, right? Though we didn't enter anywhere near the opening, we had a nice red candle breaking the CPR. Then we had an up move with the break of CPR on the upside. Either way, see, if we had entered in this candle on the short side or the next 15-minute candle, if you just look at the price action, 5-minute candle, if you look at the price action closely, on an ideal day, even I would have shorted over here, right? But immediately there was no follow-up. Our stop loss would have been the CPR level. The stop loss would have hit in this candle. And now assume that we kind of predicted on the live market this was a nice evening start, and if we had entered, our stop loss would have hit somewhere over here. But yeah, when the moment you see this type of a higher low, right, we should have exited. This is what happened to us. We saw this nice big evening star, like an evening star pattern, right? Everybody knows what an evening star is. If not, probably you can just Google it. What is evening star? It's just a bearish chart pattern. And once this pattern came, we took an entry on the short side with our targets as the CPR S1. And see, along with CPR, we also use the Cambrilla pivot, right? Though this video is on CPR, I just want to throw some light on this Cambrilla pivot. Now, what is this Cambrilla pivot? Is nothing but you have a detailed video on my channel. You can go and watch it. Trading based on Cambrilla pivot. So our first target was this Cambrilla pivot, and second target was S1 of CPR. Though our first target hit beautifully, we were in profit. Sometimes, you know, the mind plays some games, and it happens with everybody, even with me and whomever I'm trading along with. We tend to wait for some bigger targets, and we failed to even exit when we were making this type of a nice higher low and a triangle pattern. See, we were in profit over here, we were in profit over here, we were even in a small profit over here, right? But the moment this up move started coming and this candle came, that's when we just blindly exited and then sat on the long side, right? See, if somebody had entered here now, this is Friday the 13th, what PNL we had. Though we took a big loss, but luckily the Banknifty moved nicely on the upside and we were able to recover, or a loss ended in a small green PNL. So that is fine, no problem. Sometimes the market does give us a chance to recover the loss, sometimes it doesn't. See, ideally, we should have stopped if anybody was short from morning, we should have exited when we were seeing this type of a triangle pattern. So see, when you see this type of a pattern, it's kind of obvious that either we're going to break out or break down, right? It's not going to remain in this throughout the day, especially we were only at about 12, right? So at least we should have waited for the breakout or the breakdown for the re-entry and cut or exited our short trade. We had taken a short trade after this candle, right? So the moment we saw this type of a chart pattern being formed, we should have exited our trade, but we held it, and that was probably our mistake. And even when one of our targets, the Cambrilla pivot, right, these brown lines are the Cambrilla pivot. So the moment this Cambrilla pivot hit, we should have exited, especially when we saw this green candle, but we waited and took some loss, and immediately on the next trade with the same quantity size, we were able to recover a loss. Though it is not a big profit for Friday, but still good enough. So the best entry on Friday, if we had waited, okay, if we had waited, or if somebody was in loss in the morning, the best trade for Friday was when this broke out. It's a clear-cut triangle that was breaking out along with CPR break on the upside. Yes, a lot of us would have thought why it couldn't reverse again from here. There was a possibility that the price could have reversed from this point, from the day's high, right? But what is important in seeing the price action at that level, see the difference between sorry, see the difference between this price action at this level and this price action. So though we entered over here, we didn't get any sort of a confusion that we need to exit, and along with this we also had the umbrella pivot target over here. And just see the difference between when the price comes at a resistance point, right? See over here you had a nice bearish inverted hammer, over here you had a nice bullish hammer, and you're breaking out from a structure. So that is convincing enough that we could break out of this. That's the reason we held on to it. Our first target was this day's high. The second target was R1 of CPR. If we had formed a red candle or like this inverted hammer even over here, we would have booked a profit right here itself. But because of the bullish price action and this being bearish price action, we kind of waited and beautifully exited once we hit R1 of CPR. The moment when the market gives you the chance to recover the loss, right, especially in the morning you are in loss, and the market gives you a chance to recover the loss, you just have to blindly book the profit and be done for the day. That's at least is my policy. Recover your loss if it is an intraday loss and just be done for the day. So the best trade is this trade. Did CPR help us? I would say yes. Though we got conflicting views in the morning, say we got a view where we could have taken a short entry, but yeah, if we had strictly followed the stop loss of CPR, we should have gotten out earlier. We had our targets also, the umbrella pivot targets. We could have taken a short scalp entry and exited, but if not for this morning short trade, right, if we had waited for some sort of a nice confirmation or a breakout, this was the best entry according to me. Once the CPR broke, we could have kept this pivot point, the center pivot point, purple line as the stop loss, and gone long. So definitely the CPR did help us. See, most of the times we get good entries, one-way entries, we make money, that is good. Sometimes we do get conflicting views like this, where you get a bearish entry, your stop loss hits, and you get a nice move on the upside or downside. So either way, I would consider the CPR as something that helped us today, especially at least for booking the targets. Right now the market is going up, and it is, say over here it is about 130, and over here you are at 145.2. You're closer towards the end of the market now. Could this have broken and gone higher? Yes, no doubt about it. Yes, maybe markets could have gone higher, but when we see a price action like this, especially when we break out of R1, see, we exited right here because we recovered our morning loss, so we just wanted to exit when we saw this type of evening star. See, all my exits, entry, everything depends on the price action at a particular CPR point, right? So this is like an evening star. So immediately we exited here, and after that we were done. See, even if somebody had waited and saw this bullish candle and thought we're going to go hit R2 and waited in the trade, it is good, there's no doubt about that, but we should have taken a stop loss the moment the price came below R1. This dotted line is the R1. The moment that came below R1, we should have exited our trade for those who would have entered on this breakout, and that was a good trade. If anybody wants to learn more about the CPR, there's a video on my channel, you can go check that, and you can just go to indicators and get the CPR indicator. If you want to use the same indicator that I'm using, the link for the Cosmo feed and my Telegram group is there in the description below. You can just join there, and the link is shared for free, of course. You can just join the group, click on the link and add to favorites, and start using the same CPR that I'm using. And that's it for today. Thank you.